What if I told you that you could literally hack your brain to crave studying, the exact same way it craves scrolling through social media? Okay, stick with me here because it's way simpler than you might think.
First, let's just get real about the problem. I'm sure this slide looks familiar, right? I mean, who hasn't lost hours scrolling through videos only to find that the thought of focusing on a textbook for just 15 minutes feels impossible? So why is that? It's not about willpower. You're not lazy. Something else is going on.
The real reason behind this whole struggle, it all comes down to one simple, incredibly powerful word that pretty much controls our behavior. And that word is dopamine. It's the feel-good chemical in your brain. You can think of it as the motivation molecule. It's basically a reward signal. When you do something your brain likes, it releases dopamine, and that feels like pleasure. So, naturally, your brain is wired to chase that feeling, all day, every day.
This leads us right to the core of the problem for so many of us in the modern world, the great dopamine imbalance. So this is the crucial point right here. Your brain is basically a heat-seeking missile for dopamine. It's a primal drive. It will always steer you towards the quickest, the easiest, and the biggest hit of that rewarding chemical.
And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it?
Your brain is getting an absolute feast of dopamine from things like social media. Every single swipe, every new video is a fresh hit. Meanwhile, studying, well, that takes effort, focus, delayed gratification. Compared to the instant rush from your phone, it barely even registers on the scale. And here's the consequence of that. Your internal dopamine scale gets completely thrown out of whack. Your baseline for what feels good gets pushed so high that normal productive activities, like reading or studying, they just start to feel dull, unrewarding, boring. So if our brains are just following their programming, what are we supposed to do? How do we fight back and get our focus back on track? Well, the solution is a two-part process, and it all starts right here with a dopamine detox. The goal is super simple. We need to reset your brain's baseline. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to move to a cabin in the woods for a month. It's a simple, daily, 15-minute reset. You find a quiet spot, and you just be. No phone, no music, no podcasts, nothing. You just let yourself be completely and utterly bored. And I'm not gonna lie, at first, this will feel like torture. Your brain is going to scream for a distraction. But that feeling, that discomfort, that's actually a sign of withdrawal. It's proof that the reset is working.
But if you can just stick with it, something amazing happens after about a week. Your dopamine baseline starts to lower. Your brain, which was starved of its usual feast, starts to become grateful for smaller, simpler pleasures. This reset is the absolute foundation for our next step.
But lowering the baseline, that's only half the battle. Now we move on to part 2, which is all about actively making studying a more rewarding, more dopamine-releasing activity in itself.
This whole thing starts with a huge mindset shift. You have to stop seeing your textbooks as torture devices. Start seeing them as treasure maps. Seriously, each page holds knowledge, a clue, a new way to see the world. Your brain is naturally curious. You just have to give it a chance.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Here are 5 concrete ways. First, break your work into tiny, conquerable chunks. Each time you check one off, you get a little dopamine hit. Second, use the Pomodoro technique. That 25-minute focus timer turns it into a game. Third, try explaining concepts out loud. That feeling of mastery of, I actually get this, that's a huge reward. Fourth, even simple things like using colored pens to take notes can stimulate your brain and make the whole process more engaging. And finally, and this is a big one, always try to connect what you're learning back to your own interests and your own life.
So really, the key is this transition. You are actively shifting your approach from obligation, studying because you have to curiosity, studying because you genuinely want to understand something new.
And when you combine both parts, the detox and these rewarding study habits, you begin this incredible transformation. You go from being distracted to being truly dedicated. And this is kind of what that transformation looks like. In week 1, yeah, the struggle's gonna be real. But by week 2, you'll start to notice those simple pleasures coming back. And within a month, you might actually find yourself reaching for a book instead of your phone in a spare moment. Not because you have to, but because you actually want to. And I want to leave you with this powerful idea. Your brain isn't broken. You are not bad at studying. Your brain's natural reward system has simply been hijacked by an environment that's full of constant high-level stimulation. But you can take it back. By resetting your baseline and re-engineering your habits, you take back control of your dopamine. And when you do that, you take back control of your focus, your learning, and ultimately, your future. So the only question is, are you ready to start?